Yes, I am. My name is Jeff Toot. I'm living in the Ravenswood area, and I had a question about ulcerative colitis
Okay.
and employment. Now, or occupations that can irritate this condition is what I mean by employment.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what I do is I'm a dance marathon promoter,
Mm-hmm.
and I do have to take place in these dances.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have had bowel problems for probably the last 2 or 3 years, and basically since I got into this occupation. And what I find that happens is you're not allowed bathroom breaks within the competition itself.
Mm-hmm.
And I find myself straining to keep the fecal matter in. Now, could that cause, because the symptoms you're describing, I'm not sure if I have this condition,
Mm-hmm.
but I do have blood in my stools and generally diarrhea. I mean, very often diarrhea and extreme flatulence. And that's generally the flatulence comes during the dance marathon, and it's rather embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
And I have seen doctors about it. I'm not quite sure, if my partner's bothered by it, but the fact is it's embarrassing, and I'm wondering if this is putting a strain on my colon and other areas, because occasionally I have seen blood. I'll be honest with you, I have seen blood in the stools, and you have to understand I'm in a real fix here because as I make my living off this, I can't be bowing out, an hour and a half into the competition. I have to put it through, and these things, my record's 42 hours, and I had a bruised abdominal area. At the end of that. Mm-hmm. So I can't, I basically cannot go, pardon me, there's a train going by, it is out here in Chicago.
Okay.
But I'm wondering, is there like a muscle relaxer I could have prescribed or something like that? Because I'm worried that might also increase the flatulence, which is unbearable. It's just unbearable.
Okay. On the contrary, you do not need a muscle relaxant. It sounds to me that because I'm understanding that the dance or the practicing of the dances that you do tend to be very strenuous. Is that correct?
Well, it's not. We have to keep to a certain tempo, and it's a marathon. It's not a practice. It's for a prize or a purse. So, but it can get strenuous depending on the music. Now, the slow jams are not a problem.
Let me just say this.
Okay.
I'm assuming that in order for you to have reached the level that you're at, that you do spend X amount of hours practicing.
Not just that. I've always had problems with sleeping, so I found this is a great way to, give myself something to do, because I'll sleep maybe 2 or 3 hours every 4 or 5 days, and that's about it. It's probably a condition. I mean, I've never talked to anybody about this. I've been shielding from my family my entire life. But I found that, this is perfect for dance marathons, because not only am I fit, I mean, I'm built now since I've gotten into this.
You're trying to relax yourself.
Exactly.
By the dancing.
Exactly. But I'm having these side effects of, just terrible bowel cramping and, flatulence. And the flatulence itself is terrible, ma'am. I mean, if I could do something just about that.
Let me just share this with you.
Okay.
Nothing takes the place of adequate rest. What you want to do is, number one, start by getting at least 8 hours of sleep a night.
Oh, I wish I could. I
promise you can. Many of the bowel situations that we're discussing here, I have had them myself. It was strictly related to stress. Now, you do not need a muscle relaxer. It sounds as if, though, to me, your peristaltic muscle, and that is the major muscle that is in the intestinal tract that causes you to have the ability to push the bowel out.
Okay.
All right. Most people that run around in a very hurried state and do not get enough rest are not eating properly.
Well, that's true too, ma'am. That's very true. Okay.
Now,
but you see, when it comes to getting 8 hours per night, now it's next to impossible. Not because of a work schedule, but because I don't sleep for 3 or 4 days at a time. That's how I've lived my life.
Well, how old are you?
I'm 24 at the moment.
Okay. Regardless to whether you're 24 or older, you can make a change. If you want to correct the situation that you're speaking of, you're going to have to make a change. Now, whatever you're doing that's causing you to be awake for 3 or 4 days without proper sleep, it's just not a sensible way to approach life. Our bodies are made in such a way that it rejuvenates itself each night as we sleep. Whether you realize it or not, if you insist upon continuing on in this fashion, you're going to go into a heart condition. Not just, yeah, I'm afraid so. Let me just kind of ask this. Is your blood pressure normal, or are you suffering from low blood pressure?
Oh, it's actually, ma'am, it's through the roof.
It's high.
It's very, very high.
Very high. Okay. Now, let me just kind of ask you a question.
Okay.
How can your heart, because you're very young,
right,
at 24, to have high blood pressure, how can your heart function properly if you do not give it proper rest? The heart is a muscle.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I have no idea how I'm keeping going here.
Are you on medication for your blood pressure?
I basically medicate myself with certain things I probably shouldn't mention on TV.
Okay. Have you spoken to your physician about this condition?
Well, I've kind of hid it from my physician. I expect to hear the worst. I'll be honest with you. I expect to hear the worst.
But now listen.
Okay.
We don't want to let fear control us. 90% of the things that we tend to be upset and worried about, when we get on the other side of the problem, we find out that it was not nearly as bad as we thought it was. Do you understand what I'm saying? A lot of things that we thought was going to happen because of a particular situation, it did not happen.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I'm not asking. Wait a minute. I'm not asking. I'm not asking you to let your mind go down memory lane about that. Now, when I hear you saying that you're not able to hold it in, or you've been straining or whatever, let me tell you something that would assist you greatly with strengthening the peristaltic muscle, and that is almond nuts. Okay.
Oh,
but
wait, I'm sorry. Could you repeat that, ma'am?
Almond nuts. It's not so much the dance routine that you're doing that's causing the problem, but it sounds as if, though, to me, that you've just sort of broken yourself down by not a sensible way of living.
Well, when I turn myself over to Christ, and I figured that was going to take care of everything. And actually, that's when pretty much everything started to spiral over.
But you know what?
I put too much faith in Christ.
Listen to me.
I think I did. I think I put too much faith in Christ.
No, that's not the case. You turned it over to the right person, but when he gives you some instructions, you have to follow it. Do you understand what I'm saying? What is your name? Your first name?
Jeff.
Jeff? Okay. What I want you to do is call back and give our phone person your number, and I'm going to call you back, and we're going to talk about these issues.
Okay, actually, I've already given her my number.
Okay, we're going to call you back.
Okay, well, I'm going to be leaving I'm leaving at 7, so it's 6:30
I'll
now.
get you. If not, we'll see you at the lecture on Tuesday.
Hey, you sure will.
Okay.
You sure will.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.